Hello everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84. Just thought I'd do a very quick fleeting overview of how the citrus are looking in the summer house at the moment. When you open the door I can smell a hint of mould. You sometimes get that smell that mould gives you, but I can't see any mould really on the plants. There'll probably just be the odd leaf and shoot, perhaps the odd flower bud that's got mould on it, but there don't seem to be any much in the way of botrytis, which is the normal one that causes a problem. On the whole, most of the plants look okay in here. My jacaranda is probably the one that's got the mould on it. Looking at it, the leaves dropping off there. They're kind of semi-deciduous jacarandas. I wouldn't be surprised if it hasn't got a bit of grey mould on it, but on the whole, for the middle of January, it looks fine. Avocado's fine there. Most of the citrus look fine. I've got white sapote seedlings. I see this white sapote seedling's been eaten by snails or slugs at the top, but the plant looks fine otherwise. It's fairly minor damage, but no real problems with the citrus that I can see at the moment. Everything's healthy. Some are a little bit pasty, but the ones at the back look okay. Haven't had to water them yet, of course. We're only in January, and to be honest, I don't expect to have to water any of the citrus before I bring them out again in April or May. They were very wet when they went away, and I don't think there's any likelihood of them drying out. Obviously, I will check the plants once every 2 or 3 weeks, and if there's any that seem to be suddenly wilting badly or withering, then I might have to give them a bit of a water. But at the moment, even the white sapote seedlings look fine, and they're only in little sort of 4-inch pots, but they don't look as if they've wilted. Should be relatively little water loss from the plants at this time of the year because they're not actively growing, and the temperatures in here will only be a degree or two above what they are outside. But it should be enough. If there are any fruits on any of these plants, it might be enough for them to hold the fruits through the winter and then continue growing in the spring. I know I've got a few small blood oranges on the plants, and I think there's one navel orange on one of the varieties. I can see actually the blood oranges have got a little bit of colour they're getting to them now. You won't be able to see on camera, but hopefully they'll hold until February or March, and then they may continue to ripen in the spring when they go outside. But on the whole, I'm happy with how everything's looking. As I said, apart from the jacaranda, which really hates the weather at this time of the year, they're not quite as hardy as citrus, but if I give it a shake, I think most of the leaves that had mould on will drop off. And as I said, it's really only they're semi-deciduous anyway, the jacaranda, so I'm not worried about it losing a few leaves. But the other plant which I've got here, which is not a citrus, is my Suriname cherry, my largest one. I decided to try in here instead of putting it in the house. Seems to have suffered no leaf loss at all, whereas in the house it's sort of lost 90% of its leaves. So if that's the case and it keeps in good condition until the spring, I'll consider that a good experiment, and it's quite likely that it will flower earlier in the summer and we might get some fruits on it. Certainly doesn't seem to be suffering the cold at all in here. I think they're as hardy as citrus on the whole. I said that's a Suriname cherry, Eugenia uniflora, but on the whole everything's looking pretty good in there. Obviously don't need to be fed or watered at all in the winter. It's just a case of whether the ones at the back are getting enough extra light from the light source I put in. That's a Spider Farmer 1000. It's just intended to give the ones at the back some light that they won't get natural daylight. It's nothing to do with getting them to grow, because obviously they're dormant in here and barely above the temperatures outside. Anyway, I knew that might interest a couple of people who like to see how I'm getting on with the citrus. So far so good. There is a frost heater in there which is obviously set to kick in if it drops below freezing in here. It's not meant to actually heat the air as such, and it's not a fan, it's just like I suppose a convection heater of some sort, and there's no real airflow in here, so the heat will tend to be higher, nearer to the heater rather than it circulating, because I haven't got a circulating fan. I suppose if I put a circulating fan it would probably stop any likelihood of mould, but on the whole, for early January, very pleased with how it's looking so far, and we'll obviously know better how they're doing by the end of February. So thanks for watching that short video. That was an avocado. Can't remember if it's a bacon or a fuerte. Oh yeah, thanks for watching the video. Please give me a thumbs up. Welcome to share the video, show what you can do in a garden shed. Please subscribe to my channel and remember to click on the bell if you like updates on new videos as they come out. I'll catch up with you all soon. Brett out for now.